Before we start with the discussion, you need to know about the syllabus of this particular topic, and these are the topics that we are going to cover here. See, the first topic is this, that is policy and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of design and implementation. Now, this is a very technical topic, but we would be covering it in this very form. We would be discussing what exactly are the design and implementation issues related to the different policies and programs that the government comes up with. For example, let me just elaborate what this topic basically consists of. So, it's been, if you look at it, almost 80 years since India has become independent and has taken up various policies primarily related to poverty and how to take up development in India. But if you look at data wise, you would find that the poverty stats that are there, it has remained very static for the last 20-25 years. That means percentage wise, there has not been a lot of improvement in terms of India's poverty stats. Yes, when it comes to absolute numbers, yes, there has been an improvement, but not in terms of percentage wise. So, we have so many policies and programs specifically related to poverty and eradication of poverty. So, what exactly is the reason for those policies and programs not being effective? So, there are some design related issues. That means the manner in which the policies have been designed, there are some issues related to that, and then there are some issues related to the implementation of those policies. So, the problem is not necessarily the number of policies that India has taken up, rather the problem is related to the design of such policies as well as the implementation of such policies. Okay. So, what are those design and implementation issues is what we are going to discuss here. That is the first topic that has been mentioned. Okay. The second topic is related to NGOs, self-help groups and various other associations and what is the role that they play in the developmental process. So, there are number of organizations that are there, like there are organizations such as self-help groups, there are organizations such as pressure groups, there are organizations such as what we call as NGOs. Now, these organizations that are there, they all play a very important role in the process of development. So, first of all, we are going to, your syllabus says that what is their role. But what we are going to discuss is, we are going to talk about, first of all, we are going to discuss what are these organizations, what are the types of these organizations, how these organization functions, what are the techniques that these organizations adopt, and then we are also going to discuss what are their role in the developmental process. What is their role in the developmental process? Okay, we are going to discuss that. This is your second topic. Okay, then comes the third topic, which is, now this topic, the third topic, it is actually a combination of two topics which are present both in your general studies paper 2. What are those? See, in general studies paper 2, you have social justice and along with social justice you also have governance. These two topics are dealt with separately. Okay, these two topics are dealt with separately. They are separate topics. However, there is an overlap. Okay, so what is the overlap? Now you would find that this part that is there, mechanisms, laws, institutions and bodies. Now, so there are number of laws that are enacted. There are number of constitutional bodies. Some of those are constitutional bodies. Some of those are non-constitutional bodies. Okay, like I will give you an example. There is a body called as the Human Rights Commission. There is a body called as the Vigilance Commission. There is a body called as the CBI, that is the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, all these bodies have some role to play when we talk about what? Protection of as well as betterment of the vulnerable section. Specifically, if we talk about the Human Rights Commission that is there. Okay. So, there are some bodies, there are some institutions that are there. We will also be discussing those institutions. The first part of this, that is the welfare schemes part. I am not going to discuss that. That will be discussed where? In the social justice part. Okay. So, this topic that is there, it is actually an overlapping topic between governance as well as your social justice. Okay. I will be discussing the mechanisms, law and institutions part. Okay. So, there are some specific laws that have been enacted by the legislature. There are some bodies that have been established. Constitutional bodies, you must have gone through those bodies in the polity part. Okay. So, what are those non-constitutional bodies that are there? That non-constitutional bodies, we will be discussing that aspect in our syllabus. Okay. Then comes the aspects of governance, transparency and accountability. What are the topics that we will be talking about here? First, e-governance. Okay. Now, e-governance is a topic where if you look at the PYQs, okay, for those who are not in a habit of going through PYQs, you have to make this a part of your preparation details. Okay. Every time you are going through a topic, like we are now going to start with the governance topic. So, all the at least last 5 to 6 years, all the PYQs that have been asked from the governance topic, you should, every topic that we cover, suppose we are covering the e-governance topic. So, you should be in a habit of, after completing that topic, going through all the PYQs that have been asked for the last 5 to 6 years. Okay. So, what will that do? It will serve two purposes. First of all, you would understand, okay, how and what is the nature of questions that are being asked. Okay. First thing that is going to happen is, you are going to understand what is the nature of questions, because the manner in which we are going to deal with things and the manner in which the questions are asked, there may be a difference sometimes. Okay. So, you would understand what is the nature of questions first, and secondly, you are also going to understand that, okay, what part has been covered in the class and what is a part which I have to cover. So, there may be certain things like some current affairs related ideas that are there. So, whatever has happened till now, I will be covering that in the class, but there would be, because governance, social justice, these are very dynamic topics. So, they are not static topics like polity or constitution, ki theek hai, jo bhi likha hua hai constitution mein, that is it. It goes beyond that, hai na? So, what you have to do is, you have to regularly add current affairs to it. So, if suppose we are talking about the e-governance topic, okay, so the syllabus, it provides details related to it. It provides details related to what is the application of e-governance, What are the models of e-governance? What is the success or limitation of e-governance? Or for that matter, what is the potential? How we can use e-governance? This is what your syllabus mentions. Now, what you have to understand is that there is something called as reading in between the lines. Matlab kya hai? Reading in between the lines. See, if we talk about potential, how do we judge a potential of anything like e-governance? How do we judge a potential there? So you judge the potential there because you will find that from time to time the government will come up with different schemes and they would tell you what they want to achieve out of it. है ना? Like if we talk about e-governance in 2018, the budget session that was being held. So in 2018 budget session, the government presented a fact, a report which was based on this e-governance itself as to what the government has been able to achieve from e-governance. And they said that in the last almost 4 years, because 2014 the government came to power, the NDA government came to power. So since 2014, they mentioned that they were able to save approximately 2 lakh crores because of e-governance. They mentioned that 2 lakh crores because they started with policies like the DBT, direct benefit transfer. These direct benefit transfers, they had already implemented Aadhaar based schemes, identification of beneficiaries and direct benefit transfer to the beneficiaries account, which meant that they were able to eliminate first of all ghost beneficiaries, and they were also able to eliminate the leakages that was there because of this. So the potential part is what? That is something that you cover from these factors, that okay, the government has said this and this is the vision that the government has related to it. Like the government has come up with something called as the PM Vani scheme. It is about Wi-Fi access to public places. Now, with that, what is the objective that the government wants to achieve? Clear? Now, this potential part that is there, how will you cover it? From newspapers. You cover it through newspapers, through different policies, programs, sometimes from different reports that the government from time to time comes up with. Okay? This is how you cover this aspect. Clear? So, what you have to understand is that PYQs along with the newspapers etc. that you study, it helps make your preparation better, specifically when it comes to some of the topics, not all, but some of the topics. Like obviously history, it's completely, it's a very static concept. That is also the case with constitution. It's a static idea. But there are topics like governance. Now this is not a static concept. Yes, we are going to come up with and we are going to complete a certain aspect of it in the class. But if you simply rely on that, you are making a mistake. Because the questions that would be asked, those questions would also demand your knowledge of current affairs. Maybe writing some important facts related to certain reports etc. that are there, that have been presented by the government. And where do you cover that from? You cover that from the dynamic sources, which is primarily your newspaper. Okay, you cover it from that part. Okay, so e-governance, then comes the topic citizens charter, and it has also been mentioned transparency and accountability and some institutional and other measures, which means we are going to talk about some additional topics here. Like there are topics like social audit, RTI. These are what? These are transparency, accountability and some other institutional measures. We are going to include that as well. And then comes your role of civil services in democracy. So as a, as an organization, so we are not going to talk about, we are not going to talk about institutions like what is the IAS or IPS institutions. No, we are not going to discuss that. We are going to discuss the whole of this organization, civil services that are there, and what is its role in democracy. What is its role in democracy? Because in till now in polity you must have studied primarily about what? Temporary executives. That is, those who are being elected by the people. That is, we as citizens, we elect people to be our representatives. They form the part of government, council of ministers. You have primarily read till now about that institution. But that institution is not the only institution that is important when it comes to how the country functions. There is an institution within the executive itself. That institution is the permanent executive. Okay, that is, we are talking about what you aspire to become, civil servants. So that permanent executive that is there, what is their role? What is their role? So we are going to discuss that part as well. Okay, this is your syllabus. It is not, no, it's not a huge syllabus like polity. It has some topics, some very important topics. Every year approximately 50 marks question you can expect from the governance topic. Okay, 50 marks you can expect, but it varies. It varies. There have been years in which the topic governance, there has been 90 marks question in GS paper 2 only from the governance topic. So it varies. Okay, it varies. Unlike some other topics like in general studies paper 2, you would find that there is also international relations. So you have fixed number of questions which is asked from international relations. But that is not the case when it comes to governance. Governance and polity, they are looked into as one topic itself, and they sometimes vary. Sometimes as as high as 90 marks question, you sometimes get from governance topic. Okay, this is basically your syllabus. So what is the contour of the syllabus? You should know that part. Okay.